and welcome to today's overview. Today we're going to be looking at one of the mechs we've recovered from the strikes on Archeru, and I've also gotten some info that the Raven Alliance also saw a few of those recently. We've nicknamed it the Snow Crab. I'm not sure what the Raven Alliance nicknamed it as, but I think this name is actually going to stick because a few people in the Star League, let's say, have been talking about it. This is a big boy mech. It's 70 ton. It uses a rather big fusion engine as well to go fairly quickly, 86 kilometers per hour, pretty much about as fast as you can get a 70 ton mech before getting into stupid XXL engine technology and price range. It's still pretty fast for a 70 ton mech that is basically meant to get in your face. This is a brawler through and through, even though, well, the model that is depicted here shows the LRM-15s in the forearms. Clan LRMs don't have a minimum range, so they are brawling weapons, and those are a pair of Clan LRMs. We'll get into that because it's a very odd setup on this machine. So it is fairly big, it is fairly scary, but it uses pretty much standard technology for almost everything except for the cockpit, which is this odd interface that I've never really worked with, which is tied to a boosted C3 slave. So there has to be a C3 master somewhere, and I'm pretty sure there are mechs with that equipment, with whatever the word of Blake and whoever those clanners attacking the Snow Ravens are bringing in. One thing that I have to say about this, that means that there's basically someone in the periphery building those things because we don't know where they're coming from, and a whole lot of people in the periphery attacking the inner sphere seems to be bringing them in. Outside of that, the one thing I can say is this thing is cheap, and that's how it's built. A little bit odd, I would say, for a mech to be built on the cheap, but after analyzing it and after digging into it, the ferrofibrous that's used on both this mech and some of the others that we've looked at is basically Clan ferrofibrous, but it's made like on the cheap. And when I say cheap, it's bargain basement, bottom of the line equipment. It takes up a ton of room and is meant to be produced in massive amounts without the proper mills. There's still 10 tons of the stuff on this particular Snow Crab, so it's very heavily armored for a mech its size. Not the most you can see on a 70-ton mech, but compared to a lot of things out there, it's a decent enough amount since it's the half-decent kind of ferrofibrous armor. Engine is also a knockoff. It's a clan-designed XL engine from what we see and what we mess with the parts on it and the gyro assembly. It's basically what you would expect in, let's say, a summoner, but like again, it's built on the cheap, ends up taking up more room, just like a regular inner sphere XL engine. Probably wouldn't last a decade, unlike most fusion engines that are basically eternal. This one here, you'd probably need to do severe maintenance on it fairly quickly if you ran it into the ground. Still very fast, and the mech itself is protected by case 2 in the side torso for the models that we've seen, even the ones without ammo. C3 boosted slave makes it very relevant when they're doing fighting, and since those things are meant to get into your face, they're going to give trigonometry to the other mechs that are going to shoot at you at the same time. On Archeru, we've seen two particular models of the Snow Crab. This one here, the most common one with the big bulbous forearms here, have the LRM-15s mounted on them. And there's another one which replaces those with massive crab claws, kind of fitting. The shoulders mount a pair of large pulse lasers. Those look like old Tronels, but they're a little bit wonky, not quite clan grade, not quite inner sphere grade, just made on the cheap. Once again, I wouldn't want to pull those off the Snow Crab that I have and put it on another mech because it would probably fail much quicker than it should. The one with claws also had an ER medium laser right under the big glowy eye, just probably to balance the weapon loadout. We did see a few of them on our side. They were not the most common mech out there, but most of them were included in formations, and they included models with the claws and models with the LRMs, but both of them basically meant to get in your face, and they really like to get into bullying range of smaller mechs. They were also used in a few different ambushes. We had a group of, it was a reinforced lance, let's say, going down a snowy pass on Artru. Those things just came out of nowhere and chopped the entire group to bits, except for a single Clint, which managed to run away, which gave us some decent gun cam footage. Other variants that we've heard about, the Snow Ravens have brought to our attention that there's a version with Streak SRM6 in the arm mounts rather than RM15s, with ER small lasers as coaxials. Not sure if that's a standard, but they've said that they've fought a few of those. There's at least one version with clan-grade large pulse lasers instead of the cheapy ones. Not sure, again, if it's standard or not, but it's what some of the Frank Marshals have fought when they were facing the Word of Blake. There were also a group with mech mortars mortared on the shoulders rather than the large pulse lasers. The arms had pulse lasers, but they seem to have been medium pulse lasers. We've got some gun cam footage of that, but the one we had seemed to have run off, so we haven't been able to capture it. There is a Snow Raven that gave me some gun cam footage, Star Captain Shiro, who managed to blow up 3 of those in his Iron Cheetah. The rest of his star did support him, because that would have been a tough fight on his own, but he's the one who made clean shots to it, probably destroying the center torso, either destroying the C3 system or the engine. Our Women managed to capture at least one of them in almost pristine condition. The engine was still running, the whole thing was still operational, but it wasn't moving. They managed to pull a pilot out of it, somewhat alive. We might speak about that autopsy in a further video or recording. The arms on those things are hyperextending, so they can go all the way to the back as well. So going behind them is no safety for people. You might still get punched or might still get shot by LRMs. Overall, I wouldn't say it's a terrible mech. It's definitely not one of the best ones out there. But the problem is just how many of them there are, and the fact that they seem to be working in very good coordination. So I thank you for listening to me for so long. I hope you guys have a very nice rest of your day, and I'll keep bringing updates on this later. Bye-bye.